today we're back with more Paint Your Northwestern engine. As you can see, we are making the Northwestern Railway number 2, Edward. And you may be wondering, why are we painting Edward today? Well, here's the timeline. Back in 1898, Edward was built to run fast express services alongside his brothers, sisters, and cousins of the Furness Railway. However, he grieved simple loss back in the 1930s when his class was scrapped and replaced by faster, more sleek and powerful engines. But Edward was the only one surviving. But the K2s couldn't last any longer as they were getting too old for their own good. This meant that Edward had to survive without his brothers and sisters. He suffered a whole tragedy of the engines he loved and the class he loved most. Jackie opened it. As the Railway Series states, Edward is a little blue engine called, well, Edward. And as stated before, he lived in the sheds with 5 other engines. That would be Gordon, 98462, Afton, 87546, and Henry. Thomas was the 6th in the shed. Thomas was the 7th in the shed. Meaning he arrived shortly after Afton and 87546's arrival. Edward was sure to stand up to the bullies once and for all. Edward also had to spend the entire life since his day out being bullied by 98462. Gordon was not a bully though he was a boaster and always bragged about how fast he could go. Though he wasn't trying to hurt the other engine's feelings, he knew that 98462 was. Edward wanted to take a stand to 98462 and for his friends. So one morning in August, at 9 o'clock a.m., Edward decided to beat 98462 to the odds to fetch his coaches before he could. But 98462 caught him trying to do so and acted like he was the fat director instead. And really, he was just acting as a plain old bully. He backed down onto Edward's coaches when suddenly the Fat Controller arrived. He scolded 98462 for his bullying attitude towards the other steam engine and sent him away in disgrace. However, Edward, on the other hand, had a rest after his long train, and Thomas and Henry were very proud of Edward for standing up to 9462 and for them. But Edward would have some troubles with 87546, Afton, and Gordon shortly after 9462's leaving party, though the engines never threw him one, because he had bullied them all their life. 9462 was permanently kept on the other railway before being withdrawn from service in 1955, the same year Duck arrived on Sodor. However, Edward was very proud that he had stood up to 9462 that day, but he wouldn't get his chance to 87546, Gordon, and Afton. Edward's standing up to 9462 can be found in Mainland's original story, Spiteful Jester. Find it on YouTube, that way you can see how it all happened. Shortly after 9462's leaving, shortly after 9462's departing, Gordon got stuck on a hill beyond Madden, and Edward had to help him up. However, Gordon never thanked Edward, as he was too happy to make it over the hill. Edward ran past the two stations right after Gordon did, before parking on a siding at Crosby. He was given a fresh new coat of blue paint and was painted in the LMS blue with white lining. Before getting his red lining back with a fresh new British Railways blue coat of paint. And Edward is stated to be the number 2 engine on the Northwestern Railway. And shortly after Henry's predicament in the tunnel, Edward whistled by. That way Henry wouldn't be by himself, while Gordon just said it served Henry right. During Henry's days in the tunnel, Gordon boasted that he was the Primetime Express engine, and Thomas and Edward teased him when Thomas said the vans had stretched their bogies. Gordon was very cross about having his express coaches made fun of. However, one day, Gordon's brakes jammed, and Edward offered to take the old coaches out. That way, the passengers wouldn't have to wait several hours for the coaches to arrive. Edward was a shunter too, so he decided to fetch his own train. Henry was very proud of Edward, though he was still lonely in the tunnel after. He didn't want to spoil his green paint with red lining. However, Gordon soon had to stay on goods duty. When he was allowed back on the express trains, however, He burst his safety valve just out of Henry's tunnel, so the Fat Controller tried to get Edward to pull the train on his own, since he was a prime express engine, or he used to be at one point. However, Edward couldn't manage alone. So Henry was let out in the tunnel, feeling very stiff with dirt and cobwebs from spiders all over him. Spider! Get it?
Yes.
As Henry
Big sea greens.
Was able to be let out of the tunnel, he helped Edward pull the express train home. Gordon had to go to the works to get his safety valve mended. While he was gone, 87546 and Afton kept bullying the smaller engines. Henry was painted in a fresh coat of blue paint, and 87546 teased him and said he looked like Gordon in that coat of paint. This got on Henry's nerves eventually. And 87546 was scolded for his bullying and had to stay in the sheds until further notice. While the Fat Director had to make arrangements, Afton had to take the Midnight Express with an old coach from Edward's train. He mysteriously disappeared near Kelstorff Road, and nobody knew why. He remained in the headlines as unsolved. Afton's disappearing can be found in the Tales from the Scrap Siding episode, The Wandering Coach. Edward's Express can be read by the Billy Truck. And Gordon's incident on the hill, Henry's tunnel incident, and Henry's repaint can be found in the first Railway Series book, The Three Railway Engines. However, for mentioning the next bit that happened, Edward had to show Thomas around the yards as seen in the 2015 movie Big World, Big Event. The Adventure Begins. Thomas was shortly brown for a while, but was repainted green before his journey to Sodor. In 1914, before being blue in 1915. And he stayed that way permanently, as can be shown in the railway series, the television series, and the rest of the merchandise of the show. Sadly, Edward was getting older. And one night, to cheer Thomas up, he let him take his trucks so he could take his role in the shunting yards, only to end up causing trouble for the little blue engine, even though it was an accident. Now the background has been complete. As I keep painting, I'll explain more of Edward's timeline. Edward had to stay in the yards with Thomas after causing him to be a runaway, even though he never wanted it to happen. All he wanted was for Thomas to be cheered up, though it just made him more sadder when the trucks pushed him down Gordon's Hill. And more of Edward's timeline have happened. And besides, Edward and Thomas's punishment can be found in the 2015 movie, The Adventure Begins. And more of Edward's timeline can be found throughout the books. Like when he met Scarlet in the 10th book, Four Little Engines, when he offered Duck to help him with the troublesome trucks in Duck and the Diesel engine. And there were more we made. And I know some people in the comments are going to say, hang on a minute, doesn't Edward have 4-4-0 wheel arrangement as shown in the picture? To those people, I say yes. Well, there you have it. On our first product, our second episode of Paint Your Northwestern Engine has come to an end. Make sure to see this episode tonight at 8. Bye.